Welcome to the Real with Joseph Lamtman. I am Joseph Lamtman. Uh, Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Hope you guys are having a good week. Let's have a good week this week, guys. But this week is also number one. Ohio State plays this week. First game against Notre Dame. Go Bucks. My guest and I will be touching on that towards the end of the show today for sure. Give our predictions and all that. But it's also your boy's birthday this week on Thursday. I almost forgot the day. On Thursday, I turned 23, September 1st. Thankful for see another year and thankful for where I am in my journey. It's been a long journey for me in 23 years. And so, but 23 is still very young. I still got a long road ahead of me. And so thankful for where I am and the lessons I've learned and all that. But before I start today's show, I have to say thank you to my Aunt Rachel up in New England and my whole family up there for sending me this gift they made for your boy. You can see it says The Real with Joseph Lamtman, my own t-shirt now. And so thank you to you guys for making that for me as a gift. I appreciate it. It was pretty cool to see my name and kind of like my podcasting brand now, I guess you could say, on a shirt. And so that's pretty cool. And maybe down the road, I've actually thought about making my own shirts with the logo on it and some other things, maybe to just give them out to you guys to wear around to spread the word, spread the message that we're all part of sharing over here, really. It's not just me, it's all you guys, people that support, people that come on. And so, we're just going to keep growing this community to help, even if it helps one person, it's all worth it. And so, but thank you to you guys again. Shout out to all my family and friends in New England. Love all you guys, and hope to see you guys soon. But now to get into today's show, this is an important show today because I think it really hits home with me. This is just a topic that I still go through now. And so the topic of today's show is shame and embarrassment. And really, it's shame and embarrassment anxiety. And you see there it says for where you are. And I think this is something I've experienced and I've gone through, still do recently. And even, my guest that I'll have on today, him and I have talked recently about some personal things in my own life, things that I'm going through, that I'm putting myself out there that's new to me, and so, and I get doubt about it, and I get kind of like, did I do the right thing? Did I say the right thing? And all that stuff, all that doubt gets in your head. And, but it's just something I see with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are afraid of being who they really are and putting themselves out there because of what people may think. And I've been through that, and I still do occasionally, although I've come a lot better than what I used to be. And a lot of reasons, why I stayed away for years and just kind of hid out is because, I didn't have a lot of the things. I didn't go through the normal processes that a lot of people my age would have during the high school years and college. And a lot of it was because, I just God put me on a different journey. I had an anxiety and a panic disorder and a lot of things I was going through. I couldn't leave my house for almost a year and a half. And so, I was going through something that was hindered me rather. And so, for a while though, I was afraid to tell people where I was. And, I kind of just tried to cover it up and portray some image that wasn't me. And then as time went on, I started to get to points in my life where, I just was kind of sick of where I was. And I said, you know what, the hell with it. Who cares? People think, number one. But also, I started to realize just by actually slowly opening up people more, that a lot of what I was going through is similar to what a lot of people are going through. And that, nobody's different than anybody. And I think a lot of it is, and I've been guilty of it, falling into these crappy world standards that are put on us through social media, through all kinds of things now. And that's what social media is for the most part. A lot of it's not reality. A lot of people post on there and they portray and everything. It's not what's really going on in their life. They make it look like everything's grand, and then you actually sit down and you talk to these people, or I experience it. They're actually going through things that are pretty you would never thought if you just looked at the outside, looking from the outside. It's like judging a book by its cover. And so that's why I think today's topic is really important. And I'll have a lot to say about this. I'm sure my guests will have a lot to say about this because it's a very important topic and I've experienced it firsthand. And so, without further ado, though, to start off today's conversation, I have to bring in the anxiety guy in one of his videos because I feel like it's important to give more perspective and more of a uh, different approach to this, a more detailed approach, I guess you could say, which he always provides. And so, if I can pull the video up here and shut this music off. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is the anxiety guy. Like I always say, if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to the anxiety guy. Hit him up online. He's awesome. It's the best anxiety support there is out there, hands down. And so check him out today. Find him on theanxietyguy.com. He's got programs, the whole nine. And so, but this video here, 5 simple steps to heal shame anxiety. In this video here, it's him and his son, and you'll see why he has his son next to him in this video because he makes a point with it. And shout out to his son Hyatt, who's a fellow hooper. Shout out to you, Hyatt. But so yeah, this video here though, he talks about this topic of shame, and he gets 5 simple steps to help start healing this shame, not manage it or cope. And I like to be careful when I say it because a lot of people maybe think, "What am I doing the wrong thing? I'm just trying to manage and cope." No, there's moments where you need to use coping methods. I refer to them more as tools to help you in certain moments. But this is where I say you shouldn't try to get by in life. You don't have to. What I'm saying is you don't have to carry this anxiety with you throughout your whole life. You really don't. And I try to explain that to people all the time, and I hope they get what I'm saying because I'm really trying to help them. I want to help them, but uh, obviously I can't do the work for them. They have to make the step to do that, like I had to. But again, we're all about healing here. We're all about moving on from this. You don't have to carry this around and try to get by with it your whole life. It's like this book here, F Coping, Start Healing. I mean, the title sums it all up. And that's what Dennis preaches. And that's what, I believe in because I've experienced it firsthand. I used to manage and try to get by. And it only took me so far. It actually took me down into a deeper hole because when I hit rock bottom again, which would happen, you're just staying in a cycle. It's like I said, it's like a hamster on a wheel. It doesn't go anywhere. You're just staying in you're keeping yourself in that cycle. And so, and I know I'm ranting here a little bit, but this is an important point. I think this all kind of goes together with the shame as well, because don't be afraid to step out and take the leap of faith and be who you truly are. And so, uh, yeah, no more coping. Let's start healing. Let's start putting this behind you. Let's start moving forward in your life to the next chapter and becoming your true self and the things you want to do the things you want to do, and be the person you want to be. And who gives a damn what people think? But anywho, uh, I'm gonna play this video. I may stop, I may not, because it's only 10 minutes. I may just play it straight through, which I probably will. But if he says something really key, I may pop in. But yeah, let's just get to the video.
Warriors, welcome. Today is all about shame, anxiety, and how to handle it. And today I have a special guest, and his name is.
Hi.
That wasn't planned at all, was it? Okay. So Hyatt's here. People have been asking, Dennis, where's your son? How's your son? And he's here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing really well.
And it's really interesting how when the conversations around anxiety show up with my son, there really is absolutely no shame in it whatsoever. There really is a sense of empowerment coming from me and a deeper understanding as to what Hyatt may need to face in the future, hopefully not at the same level that I have. But these are the sorts of things that if we educate our children on, they'll be much better prepared to deal with anything that may show up internally and externally in the future. So, welcome, Hyatt.
Hello.
And
I'm excited. We haven't done these videos in a while, so
No.
this is just going to be like a pretty random video.
That's right. And the last one was when you were wearing your Manchester United jersey, and people really loved that. A lot of Manchester United fans out there. And this video right here, in fact, somewhere here. But when it comes to shame anxiety, let's understand that as we were growing up, especially me, I felt different and I was told that I was different. And because this was the case, I felt like I wasn't a part of, other people's lives. I wasn't connected in any kind of way. And so, because of all that shame, I distanced myself from people, and anything that I felt would bring out my creativity. And so, as the shame of that grew stronger and stronger and stronger, I found that I was living a very small life, as many people out there are today. But let's understand, anxiety is a sign of hard times. You need to be proud of some of these emotional scars. You are a survivor, right, Hyatt?
Yes, you are.
You are a survivor. Anxiety is a sign of undischarged energy based on guilt that you may be feeling, rage because you may have felt like you broke people's rules, and shame because of the things that you feel like you did. But the truth is, there is no shame. There is only a mindset or a perception of shame, and that's all there is. On the other side of shame, there are lessons.
Yes, there are
Lessons.
lessons.
Lots of lessons, right?
I take lessons from this guy over here a lot of times.
That's right. And so what happens is we quickly learned to hide our challenges internally and felt less and less and less connected to our true visions and our true selves. Shame anxiety really keeps people away from living a wisdom filled, genuine, creative life. And so what I really want people to understand out there is that there is another side of this shame anxiety. The only thing that's holding you back right now is a perception. That's all it is. It's one angle on how you're seeing your past and present circumstances. That's it. You can't, and none of us really can, control a lot of the circumstances that we're in or have been in, but we have total control over how we perceive these things and how we look at them today. Would that be true, Hyatt?
That would be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember a little bit of you having those tough times.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
yeah, you really touch on it a lot.
Yes. And so, warriors, we come to 5 things that we can do because there's always an exit strategy. Many people out there have really come in contact with a subconscious part of them that says, hey, it's not the right time to heal, right? Hey, you don't have the skills to heal. Hey, you've never experienced inner peace before, and so on and so forth. Do not allow these emotions, these feelings, and these ideas to run your life. You
No, I'm only going to stop one time, but the point they just made there, and I say they because number one, I love that he brought the kid into this because you can see how kids, their minds are not as corrupt as the older you get, so the more pure they are. And but it's the right approach with the kid. What he was saying there, and he basically what he's saying is, yeah, Dad, I was there for you, and yeah, he made it more simpler. He simplified it, and that's how what kids are. Kids are innocent. Kids are, I have a little cousin, two cousins actually, that are, one 5 years old, and the other one I believe is 4 or 5 years old. I can't remember at the top of my head. Because no, they're both 5 years old, and so, uh, but yeah, every time I'm around those two though, whether family gatherings, parties, whatever, it's like a sense of calm when you just sit with the and because they're just so innocent. But what I by saying all that is it's really how we should try to think more of. It's just being simple minded, not taking things so seriously. That's the problem. We take things too seriously, and it's like you said there. You can't control where you are. I couldn't control where I was, But for a while, I allowed that to bother me and to think this is who I am. Like it's a core belief. This is my identity. And then with that identity I placed in myself, I started to tell myself I'm not good enough. I'm weak. Uh, I'm inferior to my people around me and people my age. And that was all straight bullshit. That's what it was. It was all junk. You can't. I couldn't control where I was, and I'm looking back. I couldn't. Yeah, I mean, no simple. I couldn't. It wasn't my fault where I was, and so. But with that being said, it's like you said. Change your. Are you going to change your perception of it? And that's what I had to do. I had to change my perception of where I was. I had to look in the mirror and say, you know what? The hell with anybody thinks. The people that are with me, the people that are ride with me and help me grow, and I help them. Those are the people I want around me. If there's anybody around me that tries to make me feel guilty for where I am and all that, you probably shouldn't have those people. And I wouldn't say completely get rid of them, but probably wouldn't be people you should spend a lot of time with, that you should talk to a whole lot, because those people probably are going through the same stuff themselves. They just want to live in their own guilt and fear and, cast it down on everybody else. And so, straight up. And so, uh, again, perception. What's your mindset? What are you really focused on? What are the most important things you're focused on? Again, kids focus on things that are pure, but also that are more valuable, which is, you know, focusing on you, focusing on helping people, focusing on being happy, focusing on the Lord, focusing on things that really matter. That's what I'm really getting at here. And I hope it makes sense, because we place a lot of value in our society nowadays. We place high value on things that really don't matter. And we place low value now on things that we really should place high value on. And that's just what it is. And so, but again, you got to be honest with yourself, and also who you surround yourself with, you know, and trusting in God, and trusting that God will, when you submit and align yourself with His will, then whoever He brings in your life, whoever He keeps in your life, wherever He takes you on this journey, He's not going to give you more than you can handle, number one, but He's not going to, God doesn't want to put something bad in your life. He wants to help you grow. You just have to allow Him to. Okay. And so, uh, yeah, that's my take on that. So I'm going to finish up this video, though, and get back to it. If I can get to it. Hold on one second. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. Sorry about that. Are we there now? All right.
You run your life. Your adult mind runs your life, because we don't want to be stuck with the same beliefs we had when we were 4, 5, 6, 7 years of age.
Yeah.
We want to mature. We want to mentally mature. So, the first thing we want to do is replace shame with proudness. I mentioned this earlier. Be proud. You're a survivor. And you're here with an opportunity to shift your mental, emotional, behavioral, and imaginative life. The second thing is listen to the advice of your higher self and trust. There's so many people out there, Hyatt, you probably run into some of these people
Yeah.
that are always asking a million questions. I have nothing against questions, but I also find,
They're also like questions to me. I feel like they're really good for your mind. Like for example, um like philosophy, a
mm-hmm,
lot of like philosophers,
mm-hmm,
they ask
they
questions
do.
a lot.
They do
Like
ask a lot of questions.
yeah, there's so many questions, and so many people like just they were just like, get away from me, like
Right.
you're doing too many questions.
Socrates,
Yeah.
right? The old Greek philosopher, asked a lot of questions. So questions are fantastic. I love questions. Tons of questions. Questions are good. We create clarity with questions. We understand ourselves and how we got here better. And at some point, once these questions have been answered, we need to understand that when the answer shows up internally through our intuition, through our higher self, We must trust that we have the answer, right? So I want you to listen to the advice of, they call it your gut, your higher self, God, whatever you call it, source energy, nature. Trust that you have the answers to some of these questions within you. Third thing to overcome shame anxiety is speak up more. Speak up more. Step out of your comfort zone. Living in that comfort zone, just pleasing people, will only add to your shame anxiety. We don't want this, right, Hyatt?
Yes, we do not want that.
We don't want that. We want to move forward. So speak up more, even if it feels uncomfortable once in a while. I remember challenging myself, going into a cafe, whatever it was, and saying, you know what? I'm going to maintain a conversation with this complete stranger for about 2 minutes. I'm going to do that. I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. So speak up more. People want to get to know you. People want to get to know what you have to say. It's true. Number 4 is replace self-hatred with self-love.
Yes,
We did that.
we did that a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, there's always going to be times, moments throughout the day where someone feels like, oh, I hate myself for this or that, right?
Yeah.
Even Hyatt at his age feels that, and that's fine. That's a part of the learning process, growing up, maturing. I feel that from time to time as well. I can't believe I did that. But it's just a moment, right? It doesn't last very long. And then what happens is my true self, my new identity shows up and says, you know what? There's nothing and no one to hate here. Nothing and no one to hate here. You did the best you could with those resources. You should love yourself for putting yourself out there and making that mistake, right? You should love yourself for moving into this healing journey that so many people would never dare to go on. Replace self hatred with self love, and you will overcome shame anxiety, I promise you. And finally, heal one baby step at a time, but stay the course. Stay the course. It's not failing until you've completely stopped and given up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. Baby steps. At the end of the day, when you look back on the day and you say, you know what, I had that one win. Fantastic. Fantastic, warrior. That's what we're looking for here. Baby steps. Okay. You don't have to build the house that you want to live in, the identity that you want to live in today or tomorrow. But as long as you feel like you're progressing, you're moving away from the old identity and into the new identity. So, warriors, shame anxiety is something in your past. Hyatt, do you have any last words for the warriors out there?
I mean, yeah, like you said, never give up on yourself.
Mhm.
Baby steps. Um, yeah, and as my dad says, you are more than anxiety.
Voila. Love you all. Have a wonderful day.
All right, shout out to Dennis again, and shout out to Hyatt for the great video, great content there. And I took a lot of notes there when I watched this earlier today, but I even wrote down some more notes because everything he said there is facts. And I like what he said there at the end, staying the course, staying the course. That's the biggest thing for a lot of people. You can start a plan, have a plan, commit to it, but a lot of times people allow that doubt, they allow that shame, that embarrassment, they allow the negative thoughts, the illusions they run in their head. They give up and they quit, and they revert back to what their mind, their subconscious mind views as safe. I'm gonna go back to what's safe, what's always gotten me by, uh, what's kept me alive to this point, what's maintained my image to this point. And but that's where you have to really just break through and let go. And for me, it's something I still struggle with because growing up, I had a lot of pressure put on me. And with that pressure came a lot of reaching certain standards with sports and school. I had a lot of people in my life that meant well, that wanted to see me grow, and wanted me to be great because I was the first child. I was the first for a lot of people, nephew, uh, grandkid, and so yeah, I think a lot of people wanted me to be great, and there was a lot of standards put on me, high standards at times, and so. But as I got older, though, a lot of that kind of became too much, especially when I started a new school and became more of a people pleaser than trying to help better myself. And I think for a while, that's why when I finally just hit rock bottom when I was 15, I left my school and I went away for a while. It was kind of like, too, I needed a break. I needed a time to just kind of sit and just like think for myself and just kind of unwind because it was a lot in the years leading up to that. And so, uh, yeah, and so I realized that for myself, but it also helped me. It's especially in my own home. It's helped, my mom and dad look back at that now and they realize kind of a lot of things, maybe where they should have did this, that, and the other, a little differently. And I know they meant well at the time, uh, but it's also helped us grow as a family because they've learned, I've learned, and it's helped my younger sister who's going into high school next year. And so, and she's a lot more prepared than I was for the better. And I think a lot of it's just learning from what I went through that phase. We all learn from that. And so, yeah. And, obviously I think it helps too to have I don't know what it's like, but to have an older sibling, I think helps as well. So, I always there for to mentor her and help her out. And, her and I could talk about certain things that, maybe she wouldn't talk about with my mom and dad. And so, whatever. But, yeah, I mean, but stay the course and just you know take it one day at a time and don't be afraid of what people think. At the end of the day, who cares what people think? And so and I got a lot more to say on this, but you guys know what time it is. I put these on. Who's coming on? The man himself.
Hey.
Mike Antonace, Mr. Bulk himself.
Mr. Bulk.
Mr. Bulk. Mike, welcome back to The Real. I know you had to wait a while there. We tried filming this before, guys. I hit record and the mic got on. Yeah, but anyway, I finally got you on the panel. So
yeah, I'm here now.
You're here now. We made it. But you and I have both. I meant to say this actually. You and I guess you could say, been to mentally. You've shared your story on this show. I've shared my story many times. We've both kind of been to the bottom mentally.
Right, yeah.
And so, at least for me, Mike, to start this off, I think that with you, giving your take on it, I think when you hit that bottom like that, you get to a point where you start to come back up and it makes you realize what's really important, what's not.
Right.
And a lot of times that's when you start to get over kind of that shame and that embarrassment. You start to say, you know what? Things aren't what I really made them out to be, number one. But number two, what the hell do I have to lose?
Right.
And so I guess we'll start there. What's your take on this topic, but also kind of just your experience where you've been and just coming back up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually been, at least the first thing that comes to mind is I've been feeling this kind of recently because we talked on the last time I was here about how I was going back to the church that I had disagreements with, I guess you could say. Like I was excommunicated, I was bitter. Some of them were bitter. So now that I'm coming back around, like a lot of them are being really like loving and open with me, and it does make me feel like shameful, maybe even like a little bit of guilt to the point where my anxiety, has been a little peaked the past week. Like, so I mean, the video actually kind of like helped me like process that a little bit more. Is, I've been feeling just that way, even though there's no point in feeling it that way. Like,
right.
Hey, we got over that hump, like be grateful for what you learned, but like these people aren't here, they're not out for you by any means. Like you don't have to feel guilty anymore, especially since it's a church setting. Like, Christ forgives you, like,
right.
like there's that.
Right.
Like says, I think the word forgive, if you did like a Bible, like a hardcore Bible reading thing where you had to take a shot every time like the word forgiveness comes up in the Bible, you'd be plastered by it in like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So I mean, that's basically like my main take on it is just like I've felt it like a lot recently. Just like I mean, survivor's guilt isn't like the right kind of phrase or word, but just that like that guilt over past events that like are years healed that you know you still have to like remind yourself every now and then like, hey, be grateful for those experiences, like you learned from them, but obviously God put you through them for a reason. So it's been a learning process, and I feel like it's always going to be one, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
We're not
growth.
perfect.
No, that's something that I had to work out of because, like I said many times, growing up, I had kind of that perfectionist mentality that was kind of molded into at a young age. And you know, it's funny. I talk about too to make this point that might maybe help somebody is I talk about generational anxiety before on this show,
Mhm.
and it's my dad growing up. His dad had really high standards on him and his older brother at a very young age,
Right.
and they had to do some work at 6, 7 years old that you would be like, that's not work typical 6, 7 year olds do. Like the standards to put, like the stuff they were made to do, and it kind of made my dad into like a perfectionist. And then, you know, my dad, you know, he was trying to do what was best for me as the first child. He kind of passed that down to me. But then as I got older, you know, my dad saw how kind of a lot of negative effects that he saw when he was a kid when that happened to him, and then he saw as you know I started getting older, and then this happened. You know, but my anxiety really kicked in when I was 12, and then when I got to 15, and things really went downhill.
Right.
Then he started to really pause, and we both realized, and he even went and you know did therapy for himself, and he even realized, you know, man, a lot of the things I place value on, and I used to stress out about and try to push you. It really was too much. I wasn't allowing you to just be. I wasn't allowing you to just, you know, take it one step at a time. You know, just you don't have to rush things. You don't have to maintain a certain standard all the time.
Right.
A lot of times, just as long as you gave your best effort, that's all that matters. As long as you're trying, I don't say trying. As long as you're doing the work and you're doing the best you can, and you learn as you go. That's all that matters. And I love what you said there too about what you're going through right now. You know, and uh, I'm sure it's the same thing. It's new, it's different. It probably feels
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You and I have talked about the last couple of days about where I've been in my own personal life. You know, reaching out to people and being more vulnerable. It's uncomfortable. It's different. You know, something
Right.
doing things I've never really done, and I haven't done in a long time. But you just kind of roll with it. You just roll with the punches, I guess you could say. You just kind of just that's where the faith has to come in there, the trust and the belief with God.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. If like I don't know where I'd be without like without like remembering God's there for me every step of the way. But yeah, we all gotta just continue to grow and continue to get over those humps of, you know, shame, guilt, embarrassment. Luckily, like for me, it's mostly shame and guilt. I could probably use a little bit of embarrassment in my mind, but it's skipped over me. I'm never embarrassed of nothing.
Yeah, I know. I've been around you. You know, that's why I love you because when we're out in public or you're ever anywhere, you're the same guy always. Like you just yeah, right there, just puffing his thing away. Just don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Like he just don't care, and that's why I love being around you because that's the kind of people I like being around. That's people I grew up around. You know,
Right.
you just keep it real. Like we don't. That's how I am. You know, I don't want to be around people that are trying to keeping up with the Jones and all that shit. You know, that's just not me. I'm more of just a
Right.
laid back, chill dude. You know, I like to have a good time, but I'm always gonna be me. And I'm never gonna abandon who I am to please people. You know, I'm not gonna, and we see a lot of that nowadays too. That's a whole other topic. People abandoning their values and who they are. What they know is not right and wrong. We all make mistakes. You and I have talked about our shortcomings on the show, but a lot of people are really doing some wild stuff and not helping themselves out, just to please the world. But I think, I guess we can kind of go into that a little bit. like I said, for me, I think a lot of this too is just like with social media, and I talked about that earlier. Just
Mhm.
these standards that we're, especially people our age group, because you're 26, I'm about to 23, around the same. We're both younger in this new tech age, I guess you could say. And so,
Postmodern world, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And so we see all these standards and all this stuff, what's in the music and how they're telling us to be. They're basically telling you this is how you need to be. This is what is acceptable.
Right.
Right. And so there's no more authenticity in anything, and people are afraid to be themselves. And so I guess kind of what's your take on that, and just kind of what you see from the outside when when you're out in public, you can go out tonight and go to a busy part of town like where we live, Cuyahoga Falls. You can see a bunch of people out to eat, and you just look around. You see a lot of people that are just like trying to like sit there, and maintain an image. I got to eat a certain, you know what I mean? Everything's
Yeah.
like very like robotic.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like we have the feelings of shame and embarrassment just because of society. You know, societal rules set a certain standard, and now with social media, those standards have flipped. You know, more appearance based, more, you know, you have to act a certain way or flaunt a certain amount of your income or something like that, to the point where, like, yeah, people are constantly trying to adhere to it, even though, especially with a lot of the social media standards, like a lot of that's unobtainable. You know, especially with like looks or money, you know, like you're only going to see like, oh, you know, the 25-year-old who inherited $6 million or something like that, and flaunt his money
Right.
on social media. Like, why don't you have an Aston Martin? Or who is that one guy? Who's that one guy that used to have commercials all the time on YouTube? He was like, oh, I built all these bookshelves behind my Lamborghini in my garage. I read a book a
Oh
day,
yeah, I
which is
remember that.
impossible, by the way. Um,
People fell for that stuff. People fall for that crap too.
yeah. What is his name? Ty Lopez. Ty Lopez was his name. That dude.
Yeah, I've seen that ad. That's That's just crazy, man. This false. It's just crazy. People fall for this shit. The false image they put out there, like this isn't what. And I know I try not to cuss, but this is what. Do you think this is what God wants us to view and look at and focus on and try to maintain? The only image I'm trying to maintain is pleasing God. That's the only image I'm trying to maintain.
Right.
Is it obtainable to Him? Other than that, even the people around me the people that truly care for you and truly love you, they let you be you. They love you for who you are, and wherever you are in your journey, whether you got still things you need to do, they're there to support you and help you grow, encourage you grow, right? And this is why I think we see a lot of bad marriages nowadays. This is why I think it's like 50% of almost half the damn marriage people get married nowadays are getting divorced, and
It's like 63%. Yeah.
yeah, and it's sad
Well over
because a lot of them are getting married because they feel pressure from their family, they feel pressure from their friends, so they say, "Oh, I got to do this." Oh, we've been together for so long. Oh, I got to get married. I have to. And a lot of times when you feel like you have to do something and you force things, you put yourself in a bad situation. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like the same thing with marriage. And before you know it, you find out you get in the marriage, time goes on, and you realize, this guy or she or he, whatever, isn't what I thought they would be. And, I'm not growing as a person. We're not, things actually gotten worse. And before you know it, like I said, you're in a divorce court, all because you allowed that pressure. You allowed some, let's go back to where it started from. It started because you allowed all that stuff to get in your head,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But I can't speak on it, but you're married now. And so I guess you're going to give it, I want to hear your take on that actually, because I know you've talked about on the show, you were going through it, years ago. Was it your fiance at the time, now your wife? Uh, she helped encourage you though. She was there with you. She helped,
Yes.
helped you step by step, and that's what it's all about. And it helped you propel. That was the one. I need to say that's one of the only positive people you had in your life at that time. To really be honest with you too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's so important to have that. And also another thing to remember with marriage, especially, and why I think that divorce rate is so high, people forget that love isn't just like, people really, especially nowadays, I think that love is like a feeling, like it's a chemical, like happiness or like, something like that. But really love is a choice, and it's more of an action. Like it's a serving somebody, that's loving somebody. Like the action of loving someone, you serve them without like want for yourself. What was that?
Like the Corinthians 13 says.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and that's
like,
one of many in the Bible, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I just want to make sure I heard you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, love is like, it's a constant action. It's a constant choice, and you have to choose to do it every day. Some days it could be harder than others. I mean, relationships are work. They're always going to be work. And loving someone can, it's a choice, and it can be work to serve someone other than yourself. And I'm a pretty prideful, lazy, and self-centered individual sometimes. So it could be hard for people of my disposition to do that. But when you have someone in your life that you know that would do all of the above for you, you know, you just got to continue to make that action. And it's in today's society, like now it's like, oh, you know, this person isn't making me happy anymore. And it's like, well, why? What are you doing? Are you doing anything to fix it? Or are you just stewing in it? Like, and then like again with society, like the perfect relationship, like social media pushes that, like, oh, it's supposed to be like a Nora Sparks novel, like
everything's got to be a storybook ending. It's got to be this movie, and it's just like, I'm sorry,
it's not like that.
It's not reality.
Yeah, it's not like that. And like, I think especially now, that's why so many are ending in that. And another thing too, it's like finances, like people that let finances ruin their relationship, and that's sad too. Like, I mean, finances are stressful. It's probably the most stressful thing in the modern world, I'd say, is probably finances. But
that's how you have to live.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't let like things of the world like that break down your relationship. I mean, that's not the way God wants it. I hope it's not the way you as a couple want it. But yeah, I mean, that's just my big take on it. Just you got to continue to. My take is just continue to work and continue to choose to love that person. It doesn't even have to be like, and I'm just talking about it in like husband and wife, like, but I mean, do it with like people close to you, friends, family that you don't see, because it's a choice to love a friend. Sometimes a friend's going through something and they don't reach out. Oh, well, they haven't reached out to me. Why should I reach out to them? That kind of stuff. It's a choice to love your friends, choice to love your parents.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think you and I have had private conversations and messaging back and forth recently about something I'm going through, and I would have never said that, Mike. I'll be honest, a year ago I would have never told anybody about any of that.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just where I was, and I think a lot of it for years, when I look back on that, I was like, for instance, and I've had when Joe Zambrelli came on the show, him and I talked about that. He had something similar when he was younger. Like when I've talked about many times, and I brought up recently when I was in ninth grade. Even for instance, with dating, I never dated, but in ninth grade, there was a very beautiful girl, and I could never even approach her. I was so afraid to say hello. I was so afraid to. But I was 15 at the time, but
yeah, I mean, I wasn't a heartbreaker in high school either.
Yeah, but and Joe talked about when Zambrelli was on, he talked about that too. It starts to hinder your confidence more and more because you start to question yourself, like, why? You get that doubt. And it is, I had years to think about a lot of that and other and different instances where I questioned myself, because I had a lot of time to sit and reflect because I was away. And so, but the biggest thing that's helped me which is I want to transition to, is when you kind of hit on speaking up more, which he brought up in the video, expressing yourself. Just speak up, saying your truth.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you just, like you said there, when you have people around you that you can say anything to, that's been the biggest difference for me. Well, two things. Number one, reconnecting with God. But number two, is speaking up, saying my truth, saying how I feel, not being afraid of what people may, how they may take it. And a lot of times it always goes in your favor, because when you speak your truth, the truth shall set you free. And
Right.
a lot of people are really waiting. Uh, they're waiting on somebody else to say it, or because maybe they're going through it, or maybe they already know and they just kind of want you to say it. But they're there for you. And I know I'm kind of rambling here a little bit, but when I was down in the dumps, man, at the bottom, I had certain people in my life that I could, like my mom and dad. They saw me at the lowest points. I mean, at bad moments, bad panic attacks, bad everything. But if I didn't have people I could really express to, that I could trust, and allow myself to be vulnerable in those moments and not worry about what people are thinking, because before I started doing that more, I used to try to hide. I was a person. I would go run to the bathroom. I would go run out of the appointment. If I was in the doctor's office, I'd run the hell out, go out in the car. I don't want people to see me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would try to conceal as much as I could. But really, the fastest way to freedom is not concealing less. It's
Right.
concealing. It's actually expressing more. And so, I guess kind of, what's your take on that? Kind of with your experience, just expressing to people, no matter what, even your friends, and just telling them your truth, and how much how really it's just such a relief.
Absolutely. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, I feel when I have bad panic attacks, and even when like I get the stray one now, like um it's the same thing. Like you try and conceal. Like for me, I would always like I turn out the lights because you get the light sensitivity that always sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And turn out the lights, get into somewhere dark, maybe just try and like do my breathing techniques. Like I'm a little bit more trained now to get myself out of it as quick as possible. But I mean, but yeah, no, that's exactly right. Like, I mean, getting out, just tackling discomfort head on as just a normal thing, that what your body is doing, and speaking
Mm-hmm.
to somebody, speaking even if no one's even around. Like, luckily we have people that we can call or talk to, like on the phone, and like, hey, I'm feeling this way, I don't know why, this will, and just talk it out of it. But even like speaking, you're like, they teach, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, they teach that if you just speak it aloud, like, I'm having a panic attack, I'm doing it, this is why I think, like,
Mm-hmm.
and even that, like speaking it into the air, like is supposed to like click something in your brain where it's like, okay, that's all that's going on.
Dude, uh, I've told this story, I think, once. I think it was when I had my buddy Zach on, and I didn't really get into full detail. My last day at school, when I was 15, up until that point, I was trying to hide the whole summer. During football, I was trying to hide and conceal. And maybe
Right.
you've had a story similar to this you could share. And I was sitting there at lunch one day, and my anxiety was through the roof. My mind's racing. I don't really know what I'm doing at the time. This is all new to me. Doctors put me on medications. I'm in the school in front of all these people. I'm sitting there at lunch, and I'm sitting there with one of my best friends, Mike Matthews, who's my guy. And I'm sitting there next to Mike. I'm like, I just say, hey, Mike, I'll be right back. I remember I got up and I walked out, and I went down to the far end of the school. It was a bathroom down there where nobody went to during the school days because there wasn't any classes down there. So I would always sneak down there just to be away. It was quiet.
Alone, yeah.
Yeah. And I would go down there. And this day, it was different. It peaked. Like I had enough. And I had something happen that week at practice I was pissed off from that. Had an incident with the coach, the whole nine. And so, and just everything involved leading up to that point, I was done. And so I remember I was in the bathroom, though, long story short, and I remember I knew there was something wrong. Like, I didn't feel right. I just wanted to leave and go home. So I called my mom at work and I said, hey, Mom, I need you to come pick me up. Like, there's something wrong. And she's like, she kind of knew that it was time for me to maybe, okay, we need to get some help. And so,
Right.
like, maybe, and so I called her. She's like, okay, give me like 5 minutes. I'll leave and I'll come pick you up. So I said, okay. So I sat in that bathroom, but I started getting worse because when you're sitting there by yourself, you start
Your mind
really,
races. Yep.
yeah, you know how it is. You start putting
Snowballs.
you start writing these movies in your head, and you start you think
Yeah.
you're about to, you really think you're gonna die. And I was getting images
Am I
like,
gonna die? Am I gonna lose my mind? What's happening? Yeah.
yeah, am I gonna lose control of my body? I'm alone. And I'm sitting there, I've got these visions in my head of me just being carried out of there and dying, just the worst case scenario, the school resource officer came in, right? He came in, he had these take a piss. And so he's sitting there, and there was like a little bench, and it was a bigger bathroom, like one of those ones with like the bench in like a long hallway. I'm sitting on the bench, and I'm sitting there, and he's over there doing whatever, and he goes to wash his hands, and I look up at him, and I was sitting there, I was like, I got to do something, like I just can't, I need someone's help, like like physically here with me. I just looked at him. I said, "Excuse me, sir. Do I look okay to you?" That's what I said. And he's like, and he's like, "Yeah, why?" And I just said it. I just let it all out. And I was just like, "Listen, man, I got anxiety. I'm panicking right now. I'm freaking the hell out. I need help." And this guy it was like God sent me an angel that day, Mike. I mean, he literally did. That guy was incredible. He just sat there. He talked with me. He started telling me, yeah, I know some people. Obviously he's a police officer. He sees all kinds of things. And so. And he just sat there with me. He was like, "Come on, let's go down. Let's wait for your mom to desk. I'll walk with you. I'll stay with you." And I was kind of in that stage of a panic attack where you didn't want to get up. Even you were afraid.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hold on, I need a couple more minutes, but hold on." And so we're sitting there, and I'm sweating. I'm hyperventilating. Finally, I was like, "Okay, let me just get up. I'm just gonna book ass to the door and get the hell out of here." And so I get up. He's like, "Come on." He walks down with me. We get to the front, and my mom showed up like a minute later. And that was it. And that was actually, I walked out of the doors that day. And when I walked out of the doors that day, I just knew that was it. Like, as far as that part of that chapter of my life, going to school and like actually going to school and all that. And I just walked out, and that was it. But I share that story just to help people out there. And maybe you've had a similar one. Maybe you've had it. If you want to share one, go ahead. If you could think one, but
I mean, hell, just recently, like I was at a men's retreat for the church, and kind of the same thing. Like I'm around a bunch of people, like the teaching just finished up, and for some reason, I don't know if it's like kind of what I spoke about earlier. What it's been bad the past 10 days or so, just like that feeling of guilt. Like I just didn't want to be around anybody. So like as soon as they were about to break down the teaching with prayer, like it was a big cabin and there was a basement. I just go into the basement. It's like cool, not hot, which is like when it's cold for some reason, like it helps you shock out of it. And I just sit in a chair and I just play this like there's this other YouTube channel that I listen to that it's she's a what are they called? It's a psychologist that also does hypnotism. And she does this like panic attack talk down, and I listened to the whole thing just to get myself like out of it, because I was feeling pretty hard. And same thing. Like they came down afterwards, like, "Hey man, you all right?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm having a panic attack." I'm like, "I don't know why. It came out of fucking nowhere. I'm just trying to get myself out of it." And two of my best friends were there, and they're like, one of them always tries to break me out of it with humor. He's like, "God damn it, Mike!" Like, it's
yeah, try to hit you like just to break the cycle in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're both ex-military, so they get it. Like both of them have dealt with it pretty hard.
And they know more than anything. When you get in that moment of distress, like you gotta almost take your mind to somewhere else. You gotta take your focus to somewhere else, just to kind of, you know how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, luckily, like they were there. I was able to break out of it. The rest of the day was a good day. Went on a really nice walk around the forests of Flushing, Ohio. It was actually really pretty. Then we had a couple brews and watched that the really bad storm we had, like about 8-9 days past. That knocked out power a couple places. It went through Flushing, and we were just watching the lightning. And usually, like, that's weird for me because that is, like, if I had a phobia, that is it. I am horrified of storms. Storms and tornadoes. That's my worst fear on earth. Swear to God. Like, besides, like, health anxiety and all that, if I had just, like, a phobia of something I was afraid of, it would be storms and tornadoes. I don't know why. Actually, that's a lie. I do know why. My father, it's all my dad's fault. When we were kids, if there was like a severe thunderstorm warning, he would freak the hell out. He would grab like this radio. I remember he would take us all down, and he'd be like, "Shh," like like just like listen to the radio. and we would always just be sitting down there, and me and my sister both crying, like not knowing what's going on because we're like 5 and 2, like what's happening. But
no,
yeah,
that's awesome though. You realize, because that's a start. Now you know, like with your phobia, you know when you're a kid. And same thing with me. When I was a kid, I've had instances. I saw my dad one time have a panic attack in front of me as a 5-year-old, and it was a pretty good one. And there was a scene, and as a 5-year-old, seeing your dad, who's like Superman to you, get carried off and freaking out. That's traumatizing to you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that stayed with me though. And a lot of people don't realize, man. I try to tell people this: when you get to the root, you have to get to the root cause of these things, because that's where it started. Getting the root. And a lot of times from the ages of 0 to 10, or maybe there's an incident. Like for me, I had an incident when I got in high school, or right before then, when I was 11. But there was an initial event, an initial event. You know what I mean? That for me was when I was 5 years old. And when you're 5 or any time, you don't think, oh, gee, down years, 5, 10 years from now, this is going to come back and affect
haunt
me.
you, yeah.
No, but it's ingrained in you. That's like
Right.
I tell people, it's like stored data. It's in there. It's like a computer. It stays in there until you address it, and it won't come back. It's always there. And if sometimes you get an event when you get older, it's like when I got to 11 years old, I had football practice. It was the first one of the year. It's hot. You're gonna be running like hell. And that day, I was over at someone's house, and so you're up late. I probably didn't drink enough water like I should have for practice, and so But anywho, I get to practice. And we start doing our running and everything, and like halfway through, I start to feel a little just kind of down, like just tired, like a little more than normal.
Woozy, yeah.
And so I started freaking out, and because I was a feeling I had actually never really felt like that, like just being a little like out of it a little bit, not like, but you know what I mean. You're just a little really tired and exhausted from the heat and the running. I remember I went to the sideline during practice, and this was actually one of my events that I've had to reframe in my mind. I've even went back to the place many times and sat there. And I last year I went back and ran in the same exact place in the heat, just to prove to myself I did the same exact thing. And I was great, obviously this time. But back then, though, I remember going to the sideline, freaking out. I was 11 years old. I'm like, I feel like I was going to lose control. And really, what it was at the time, I was really having a panic attack more than anything, but I didn't know. But I remember sitting there having my teammates look at me, and I felt how embarrassed I felt, and how, you know what I mean? And that event made me more fearful of ever having one again in the future. But what that in turn did, it made me way too much of a hypochondriac at an early age.
Right.
Trying to protect that, trying to never go through that again. And so it's just great. And that's why I bring that up. Is a lot of this pressure and stuff, it all goes back to these events, these movies run in our head, what we're afraid of. If you're trying to, let's say you're single like myself, you're trying to put yourself out there. Maybe there's a girl you like. You're afraid of, saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. But in the end, man, just be you. Like that's all you can be is just you, and speak your truth.
Just be you.
And put your heart into it. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Put your heart into it, and remember the fact that we're men, and anything we say to women is the wrong thing.
You might be in the doghouse of that one if she sees this.
No, she knows.
Oh, she does. Okay, Mike's got it straight over.
Yeah, I got it. I got it down. I got it down to a science.
Yeah, boy. But
I'm doing 100 calculations a minute, and they're all wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, I think you got anything else you want to add? I mean, I know
we hit on that topic pretty nice. You want to?
Let me look at my notes, because I got a lot of I got a lot of notes.
Want to talk about the roster cut down, a little bit of the upcoming season, a little foosball.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'll say at the end is this isn't. I want to make sure I leave a good.
Oh yeah.
I guess we'll just hit on this at the end. Any closing remarks? Kind of like just for me, I would say, stay the course. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Put yourself out there. Speak up, and just you can't control where you are sometimes, and sometimes where you are is right where God wants you, and just you got to focus on where He is and His will, or excuse me, not where He is, where He has you, and His will, because where His will is perfect. And so, and don't compare. And that's what I really want to say. Don't compare yourself to other people.
No.
Because I used to do that sometimes. When you start comparing yourself to other people and to society and all this bullshit we got out there, that's what it is. It's just garbage. Focus on His standards and what He wants you to do, where he wants you to be, not what everybody else wants you to do. Even if it's people around you that love you, but sometimes they put stuff on you because that's what they do. They're focused on that stuff, so they do tell you to do the same thing. Just be you, and focus on you where you are. And yeah, that's my closing remarks. You got anything you want to add, Mike?
My closing remark would just be continue to choose to love people. Continue to choose to serve others than yourself, because that will have such a huge impact, not just on those people, but also on you with your anxiety, how you view the world, everything. Once you start serving others and loving others, it changes your whole outlook,
Yeah.
Especially coming from a selfish, lazy, contemptuous, prideful person like myself.
Oh man. No, Mike's a great guy, guys. Don't get it twisted. But no, I'm just playing. But yeah, I love what you said there. Absolutely. And surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have the same goals as you, that are servants. I think that's important. You really should try to spend it, especially nowadays more than ever, just in the where we are in our society. Try to really surround yourself with like-minded people that have the same goals and desire. That's why I spend time with people like Mike, and why I have guys like Zavarelli on, my buddy Zach. We all have the same kind of goals and desires. And at the end of the day, man, we all don't judge each other. We actually try to help each other. And that's the difference. And that's why it's important who you spend your time and your energy with. And so, but yeah, we hit that topic pretty hard. But anywho, I guess we can get to, you want to get to I know you want to get to the roster bad, the cut downs. So go ahead. Just take it. What's your initial reaction to the cut
My
down?
initial reaction, I'm pretty happy with our roster cut down. There's one that surprised me, and I don't know if you'll agree with this or not. Johnny Stanton being cut and not being put to the practice squad. Our only fullback. We cut our only fullback. We're not keeping a fullback. See, what I thought they were going to do was I thought they were going to keep like him on as a third tight end and be like that hybrid tight end fullback kind of position.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that. I was the first undrafted free agent to ever make the roster under the Andrew Berry era happened. That would be Mr. D'Anthony Bell. So all congratulations to D'Anthony Bell, who lit it up in practice and preseason games, and he made a ton of plays. Great young, smart player. He deserves it. He's a safety for all those that don't know. I think he's even better. We actually talked about like Richard LeCount a little bit before. His potential's high, but D'Anthony Bell is he's got a nose for the ball like Richard LeCount, but he's got good decision making, and where Richard LeCount doesn't really do as well. D'Anthony Bell made a lot of great plays against the run too, so maybe he could be that third safety like a Ronnie Harrison that we just had there on rundowns, because that's just what he's better at. Like Ronnie Harrison, I don't want in zone coverage,
right.
being the free safety out there, but. So good for D'Anthony Bell. Yeah, any cuts that surprised you, or any players
the player that I actually want to give a shout out to, not that they watch, but
who knows?
But the guy that I'm really impressed with, the story, is the 6th round pick, Michael Woods.
Michael Woods, yep.
His body, his build, his size, his speed combination, how he looked. Unfortunately, he got injured towards the end. It was like middle of camp or something like that.
He's got a little hammy. He'll be all right.
Yeah, so they had to sit him out. But man, those early practices, like when Deshaun Watson was out there, that dude looked good.
Man.
He looked really good, and he looked like an NFL receiver. And a lot of people are sitting there watching, like he turned people's eye. He caught people's eye. I think that guy. They need another receiver to step up. I know people are down on Schwartz right now. He didn't have a good preseason. I think Schwartz maybe just has a confidence thing going.
I'm down on Schwartz. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think he's allowing that pressure to get to him. Hopefully one of the veterans get to him and just calm him down. And, I think it's really easy to look at the the press clippings and all that stuff, and you start to play it like we talked about earlier. So run those movies in your head. You start to doubt yourself. I think his is a confidence issue because that guy has the ability to be a good playmaker, at least to contribute. But I think they need a receiver to step up, and hopefully, if this Michael Woods guy can be a really good guy you can throw out there at any time, at any down, and get him, he can get open. That's a big plus for them.
Right. And David Bell looked awesome in the last preseason game. He had like three
we've been
first
high on
downs in a
David
row.
Bell. Yeah, we're both high on David Bell.
Yeah, we are.
But I'm looking at those guys, like the Michael Woods is the who else? I mean, let me pull up the roster. Actually, you go ahead. I'm expecting to get on the screen.
All right. I was gonna say I hope we trade for another receiver. I think there's one or two players that aren't currently on our roster that are gonna be on our roster. I was happy. Oh, another guy, Isaac Rochelle. Was happy he made the roster. I'm more high on Alex Wright than I was initially. Because when they picked him, I was like, I mocked him to us, but I was like, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. He was really disruptive against the run, and he had good pressures. He's just pure talent right now, though. He doesn't have a lot of moves. He's got to get like some moves behind him. He's just rushing out of like, hey, I'm bigger, stronger, and longer than you, you know? So I think Alex Wright will be good eventually, but I really want the Browns to trade for like just a gadget receiver, like a Darius Slayton or a Denzel Mims, you know, that they're kind of shopping right now.
I'm going to keep saying it. I know people don't want to hear it. People are over it, but David Njoku posted something this week. And you just look at the timeline of when Deshaun comes back and when this guy will be healthy. I'm just telling you, man, do not rule out Odell Beckham coming
Odell
back.
would be a great I agree with you 110%. Would love to have Odell back on the team, especially with
I think Odell's smart what he's doing. Actually, he's going to do exactly what he did last year. He's going to hop on a team that's going to need a receiver that has a chance. You know, if the Browns are like 6-5, 7-4, they're still in. You throw.
I think we're in with 5 games. I think we'll be okay. Like if we're a game below 500, I think we still have a chance. But we do need to win at least 5, in my mind. But 6-5 is,
and they can. It's very manageable.
Oh yeah. I'm sick of the national media. I'm not gonna listen to the national media again until like game 1 happens.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, he's gone. He signed a 1-year deal with the Niners.
Oh, I know, but they're still saying he's coming here. I heard that. They just want to earmark him to where they want him. But anyway.
Why would we sign another Jacoby Brissett? We already have Jacoby Brissett.
Right. If they're comfortable with Brissett, I mean, you're really banking on Stefanski in the system at this point, which, okay, yeah. I'm cool.
I mean, Jacoby looks good. Anthony Schwartz just dropped, like he was 10 of 16, 100 some odd yards.
Are you able to see that?
No.
I need to glass up. Yeah, I can't zoom in on it for some reason. I don't know. Maybe not. If I try to zoom in, we'll see. It just goes further. Like, what the hell is this? Come on, Microsoft, do better.
We're getting closer. Oh,
is that a little better?
I still cannot read it.
Damn. Okay, maybe not. I'm just looking at it though. I'll just make it smaller. Maybe not. Okay, now I can't get back to you. Where am I? Okay, here we are. Yeah, the hell with it. But anywho, I'm just gonna look at it right here. Just go look it up, people. All right, you got Twitter.
Yeah, you got Twitter.
You got the internet. I don't have Twitter, but I can pull it up on there.
I have a Twitter. It's really fun to argue with. Yeah, I just like to argue with the Browns fans who see. I love our fans because we're so loyal. But like, no one doomsays like a Browns fan. No one thinks the sky is falling over a preseason game like a Browns fan.
Oh my gosh!
And if you're one of those Browns fans, at least I remind you, folks out there, that the only year in the past decade where the Browns have won every preseason game during the regular season, we won 0 freaking games. 0. We went 0-16 and we went 4-0 in the preseason. Preseason means less than nothing. Andy Reid does not have a winning record in the preseason. Bill Belichick is barely 500 in the preseason. Preseason is like, it's fun to watch the rookies. Like, it's fun to watch rookies. That's what the preseason's for. Let's see what the rookies got.
One thing I noticed, they have 2 tight ends on I didn't notice no fullback, which I actually think they're going to be running a lot more sets with Kareem and Chubb on the same.
I've seen that.
At the same time, which I actually like. It makes it a little more. I think that 11 games, they got to be a little more dynamic, like a little more creative, a little more unique.
Oh
That's what
yeah,
you got to throw people off. But I think that, but I also noticed they got only 2 tight ends. I think last year they had 3 going in,
last year, yeah,
maybe
we kept
4.
3.
It was a 3. Yeah, Steven Carlson, I think it was. But this year, Bryant, Njoku,
Well, last year it was
was it? No, it was
Hoop,
Hooper.
Hooper
Hooper.
and Joku Bryant,
I think
and
they have,
then I think Steven Carlson we kept on the practice squad.
and he came up a couple times. So let's see here. Okay, Tommy Togiai, Winfrey, Elliott. That's your
How about
interior.
Jordan Elliott? Jordan Elliott's looked finally good after it only
Mhm.
took him 3 years, but he looks like a serviceable defensive tackle.
I think the guy that I actually, and they featured him this week. If you watch the Building the Browns, is
Mhm.
that I'm actually kind of intrigued by. If he can, I think he can become a starter down the road. Is Tony Fields?
Tony Fields looked good. I was surprised
He's got a. He's kind of that new linebacker you're looking for. He's shifty. He's fast.
fast.
Gets at space. He can cover. You put him out there like Phillips and obviously JOK, who's a star. That's a nice trio in the middle.
I was very surprised actually that they kept so many linebackers. I didn't think they would. I thought they were gonna cut that Jordan Kuzniak. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah,
The
I think
dude
I
with the
just saw
hair.
him.
The dude with the
Yeah.
long ass hair.
Yeah,
But
I saw him on there. Yeah, they kept him.
yeah, but I would like one more receiver. I would like
Yeah.
a Denzel Mims, a Darius Slayton, a serviceable dude that can get you 400 or 500 yards if you need. Denzel Mims, I still think has a lot of potential. He's
Yeah.
a first round pick. He got picked by the Jets, which is no fault of his own. They're the Jets.
There's a couple guys. And there's another guy. He's not cut, I don't think. Nikhil Harry. I know he was in New England. But that guy was.
No, he
people
got
are
traded. He
got traded to the Bears.
Bears,
Yeah. But
and now he's injured.
I was high on him coming out, but it's just like, you never know. A guy could still peak. You just put him in the right situation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, maybe. But I'm going to be honest, man. I really think I actually think there's a decent chance that Odell, because number one, it's good for him because they need him. But number two, he can also go. He's talked about this in an article he did last year or in the offseason. He kind of regrets the way he left, and he feels like he didn't get any, clarity on it when he, it's kind of like people can use that against him in a way. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, I would love to have Odell back. I loved Odell.
For that little span, for that type of this
Yeah.
unique situation, like he did last year with the Rams, I think it's actually pretty damn good. And
I think that would be perfect. But
I'm interested to see who Deshaun Watson's working out with when he's away from the facility. And if he works out with Odell a whole lot, then yeah, we know what time it is. But
right.
yeah, I think that. And then I guess last thing on the Browns though, I want to hit is Baker Mayfield. The comments got leaked.
Oh my
He said
God,
he's going to. I'm gonna F them up in week 1. He said that those are his words.
He can try.
I think my initial reaction was Myles Garrett's gonna have about 3-4 sacks. When you say something like that, usually like the great ones, you usually say it number one right before the game, not 2 weeks before the game, because there's a lot of time in between. Now there's a lot of pressure. But number 2, your ass better go out there and light it up. If he goes out there and looks like straight doo-doo, and he's the Baker Mayfield we saw a lot of times here, throwing picks, scrambling, panicking, 3 and outs, I'm not down on the guy, but I mean, let's be honest.
At this point, I am. Let's down him. Let's do it.
I'll never down somebody. I'm not a professional, but the guy's not. He's a bridge quarterback to me. He's a middle of the road guy. He has some great moments and he has some bad moments, but
his mouth makes him more well loved.
You can't say these type of things, and you better go out there and back it up. That's all I'll say. The defense today. That was the first one. They walked in the facility this morning. What do you think was on that board?
Oh yeah, Myles Garrett probably wrote it up there. What do you guys think about this?
Right. Right. Denzel Ward, all those dudes are probably thinking, we're going to have a nice day that day. Woo!
Yeah.
Nice
JJ3 hated him more than everybody. JJ3 blew him up on Twitter. He's like, I can't wait. Please call a safety blitz. I want it so bad.
Yeah. But what do you think about Baker's comments and how it'll affect the game, if any?
I mean, see, here's the thing. the national media has constantly said, "Oh, Baker's playing with a chip. He's got that chip."
Everybody's
And, like,
playing with a chip, man.
Yeah, and I was like, you don't think the defense has just as big of a chip, if not bigger, just
Or the
because
guys
the
trying to get
guy.
a contract. The guys trying to get money on a contract, take care of their families. They got a chip on their shoulder.
No, yeah, there's that,
Like-
but what I'm getting at is, like, Baker screwed them over hardcore last year. Look no further than the Christmas game, the Packers game, where the defense basically almost won that game single-handedly because Baker had 5 interceptions in that game and made them play.
was open twice on that last
Yeah.
drive. Would have won the game for field goal.
And that's another thing Browns fans. Oh, Stefanski's bad coach. Is like, look at the plays; they're open. Baker just can't get the ball to open people. He's got to throw it into double coverage. But yeah, dude, like, I think the Browns are gonna eat that up, and people are really people got to put a little bit more respect on Mr. Brissett's name. Jacoby Brissett. He's not great. I'm not saying he's as good as Baker Mayfield, but he's good enough.
He's a pro's pro.
He's a pro's pro.
He's been in
he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, he's been in good franchises. He's 29. He's been around.
Everybody likes him. He's a great
teammate.
locker room presence. Yeah, great locker room presence. Like,
that's the difference. That's what makes good cultures and good teams. That's why, we don't like him as our rival. That's why Pittsburgh's such a great organization. Pittsburgh can drag out Mason Rudolph some years or some other guys that maybe aren't the greatest, but they still are competing in games. They still win games. Yeah, Duck Hodges went on that little run that year. They almost made. I think they made the playoffs almost. But
they were one game out, but they were close. They were 9.
It was still impressive what they did with what they had. That's what good organizations do, and that's what I like what the Browns are doing now. They're betting on themselves. They're betting on Stefanski and their culture. Like, hey man, we got the right pieces in here now. No more of that drama. We got all that out the door. Because that's one thing that's been nice about this year. Obviously, there's been drama with Watson, but you kind of knew all that. That was stuff.
Yeah, that was inevitable.
But in terms of like team drama and like in-house things and stuff like that, which we were used to, and people saying things in the media you probably shouldn't say to give other teams bulletin board material. That's all been kind of feeling
dangerous.
Yeah, I mean it's been nice and quiet, but that's how it's supposed to be. You just shut up. You just do your work. You play on Sundays. That's what you do your talking. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for game 1. I want them to eat that paper thin offensive line and just show Bake a good time, all that good stuff. I just hope they have fun,
JOK's gonna have a nice day, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I think JOK is gonna have if you look at how Baker, if they get pressure on him, the way he can roam the field and I think JOK and I do think John, one of the safeties is going to go off that day, but we'll give a game prediction when we get to next week. But
when we're about a week
out here though, because we do have the Buckeyes playing this week against Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame's coach is saying some things that we're 17.
Notre Dame always talks.
Yeah, they always talk. I mean, they're trying to hype the game up. I get it. It's two big brands. They got to get people watching. But I'm going to be honest. I think this is one of the best Ohio State teams, seriously, I've seen going into a season since 2015 when they should have repeated that year. I think this team, the size, the speed, the athleticism at receiver, all across the board, the new defense. I think Saturday is going to be a party in the Horseshoe. I really do.
I'm excited to see Jackson Smith.
Yeah, he might have a 2,000 receiving year, 2,000 yard. I can't say it. 2,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's got a chance. He's got a shot. He can do what Cooper Kupp did last year in the NFL, but at the college level. But you know what I mean. But but anyway, I think Notre Dame's a nice team. They're solid. They got some good veterans, and I actually like Marcus Freeman, but I don't think this is going to be close.
No.
At first, I thought it'd be tough, like 2 weeks ago, but I've actually looked more into Ohio State recently, just because the Browns were in the preseason. I don't really care for the preseason that much, but so I'll focus more on Ohio State. And yeah, like I said, I think this could be a blowout. I'm going to say 45
to 14.
17.
17? You're going to give him 17? Okay.
I'll give him a field goal early. They always. I think the first drive of the game. I think till about maybe the first half because it's a new defensive scheme. I think Notre Dame might move the ball a little bit. They'll get up and down the field. They got some players. Obviously, it's Notre Dame.
Right.
I think get a field goal, maybe a touchdown or two. But I think the second half, I think the offense is just going to explode. I think it'll be. I think this team it's one of those teams where they have like the third quarter avalanches, where they just go off coming out of the half and they just put the games away. I think that's what this team can be with this offense. So that's my prediction. And you got any take on the game?
I think Ohio State's going to destroy them. I also think C.J. Stroud is unfortunately going to end up a Seahawk after the season.
The dog agrees too.
Yeah, you think he's going to be a Seahawk, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ollie. Say hello, Oliver. Say hello.
Hey, Oliver.
Good boy. Get down. Yes, you're a good boy.
Gotta whistle at the dog so he gets
Oh,
responds.
he doesn't respond to that. I don't even know if he knows.
My dog, when I whistle to my dog, that dude comes flying around the corner.
No, he only responds when I yell his name because he's usually doing something dumb. Pit bulls aren't mean; they're just dumb. And, like, he's a purebred red nose. Look at this big idiot. Look at him. Can't hurt a fly. Doesn't know what's going on.
He's just moping around the place.
Yeah, he's. I think he might be part hound because his ears are unnaturally big, but I'm not sure. All right, Ollie, you got to get down, buddy. You weigh so much. 110 pounds of.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, he's a big boy. And he's all muscle. Oliver,
You know how much my dog weighs?
how much does he weigh?
100 pounds less than that.
Really?
You see my dog. I have our dog at my house. They have a miniature Yorkie. That little bastard. He's like 5 pounds. He just runs around all day, sleeps like a champ. But he has his moments as well. But
Yeah. He acts like a Yorkie sometimes. Like, this is the only dog I've ever had when I leave the house, even if it's for 5 minutes. He doesn't like whine. He screams. Like, I can't replicate it because I don't want to burst any eardrums, but it's legitimately a yell. Like, the dog screams. Like, where? Oh.
Oh man! All right, so Mike says a blowout as well. I say a blowout.
Blowout.
I think we're going to go undefeated this year, honestly, all the way to the national championship game.
Yeah,
Alabama.
national championship this year, baby. Bryce Young can suck it.
Stroud's going number 1, but we should. In my opinion, I think he's better. Bryce Young's good. I think Stroud though is just.
Bryce Young's going to be a Lion.
You think so?
No, actually, I don't. That's a lie. I think the Lions are in a weird place that they have. Oh, by the way, you've been watching Hard Knocks?
No.
Oh, you got it. Dan Campbell's so much fun to watch.
I mean, last year he's talking about biting kneecaps, and now this year it's what the hell did he say recently? I saw.
Oh, he's like, I don't care if you got 3 toes and 1 ass cheek. I'm gonna beat your ass.
I saw it last year. He was like, "We're gonna bite their kneecaps off." I'm like,
I love Dan Campbell, dude. Dan
if I was getting ready to go play a game, I'm gonna be honest. If I was sitting there like, you're ready to go play a game, you're all serious, yeah, we're gonna kick the ass, and my coach says we're gonna go bite their kneecaps off, dude, I'd probably start laughing, and I'd be like, Coach, just stop. Like, let's go. We got to go play a game. Well, come on, let's go.
Dude, he's
go
awesome. He's out there doing up downs.
Oh boy.
And burpees with the players. Like, he's like, I bet I could keep up because he was a tight end,
Right.
And he's still in decent shape. But like, oh, it's funny. All the coaches are funny. The linebackers coach is probably my favorite.
Is it up there with when the Browns had theirs? Who was the offensive line coach? I can't remember.
Oh, the dude with the big belly.
Yeah, dude was
talking
about
sorry, my fault.
And he's going off. You think they stretched out in the field? No, they just jumping jacks and stuff.
He passed away, I think.
Did he?
I think he did. I mean, he was like 70, and he didn't. He obviously wasn't in the best of health.
No,
but
yeah, he was a character to that dude. I like.
Oh, he was funny.
Yeah,
he was funny. That's a different world now, isn't it? The Browns Hard Knocks, like none of those guys.
I know, dude. It's crazy. You look back at that, like that was a whole new era back then.
Yeah, it's like, look, it's Joel Bitonio. He's still here. David Njoku's still here.
Denzel.
Gone.
All right, everybody else is. Yeah, see you later. But yeah, Chubb and Denzel. That's the only too. Really, I mean,
Oh yeah, Chubb and Denzel.
yeah, that's
We
a good
made
read.
Denzel the highest paid corner in the league. He
Yeah,
deserved it.
he deserves a chat. That's he's from North 330 as well, so we
Yeah,
gotta represent
playing for
him.
his hometown team.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I think blowout there. And I guess before we get out of here, what's your book of the week?
My book of the week, yes, I actually prepared it, is Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in the Mistborn trilogy, and it is the ultimate conclusion to the Mistborn Era 1 saga, which, if you are a fan of fantasy, Mistborn is probably, or if you want to get into fantasy, Mistborn's the best place to start. Read the first two books. The Final Empire is book 1, Well of Ascension is book 2. Both were great. And this is his epic conclusion to that story. There is an Era 2 of this world that takes place hundreds of years in the future, but it's part of, again, his Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, which is like this universe or galaxy of different fantasy worlds that interconnect very smallly, kind of like Stephen King's work. But I'm excited to read it. Just finished The Stand, which was fantastic, but excited to finish up the Mistborn trilogy and see how he puts a nice bow on the saga of Vin and company. So, yeah, definitely if you're a fan of fantasy, want to get into fantasy, Mistborn's a great place to start. And or Brandon Sanderson in general is just a good author to start. He's like the Stephen King of fantasy. He writes 2 books a year. Super cool dude. Actually loves his fans. Is a born again Christian as well. And but yeah, he's just a cool dude.
Yeah.
I met him once.
Wow,
Awesome dude.
that's pretty cool. But yeah, appreciate sharing the book of the week. It's a segment we do for all our readers out there. But yeah, man. I mean, speaking of fantasy, I did my fantasy draft Saturday night, and I like my team.
My teams suck.
I'll send you my team. I'll show you what it looks like. I like my team. We're pretty solid this year, and I look forward to defending the title this year. So
yeah, defending the title just this year. I thought it was like for the past 3 years, Jeff.
no, actually, we got in that league last year. So, but if I win again this year, then I might just retire so I can let somebody else win. So, no, just playing. But no, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I appreciate you coming on again, like always. And you got
appreciate you having me, like always.
Any last words for you to get out of here?
Read books. It's good for your brain.
All right. Yeah. Fill yourself with knowledge.
Yeah.
Actually, we probably a lot of us could read rather than the other stuff we do, but it's a lot more relaxing therapy for your soul. But yeah. All right, brother. I guess we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you coming on like always.
See you later, brother. Thanks for having me.
All right, appreciate it. All right, I want to thank Mike for coming on like always. Take these off. Mike's a character, but Mike is who he is, and Mike always gives a great take and his perspective. And like I said earlier, Mike's been through a lot and a lot of things similar to myself, and then he's not afraid to share where he is, and that's what I like to do as well. We like to share where we are, what we've been through, to help relate to you guys and to help you guys know that hey, we're out there going through it as well. And I think the biggest thing we can all do is don't be afraid to lean on people, even if people you don't really know or you just met, or even people in your own family or friends. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, to speak up, and to take that help. And you guys, you never know. You never know. A lot of times the people you least expect are the things you don't really think would help, or you would think to first do or ask people to ask, are usually the people that might help you the most. And so, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys took something away from this episode. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share this episode with somebody that needs it, because we need to keep spreading this word and this message. And, just keep taking it day by day. Just keep pushing forward. That's all we can do. Just stay focused where you are and focus on your journey and be you and not worry about what anybody else wants you to be. Because, that's most important we need to stay focused on. And so, that's all I got for you guys today. Out.